Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name's Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. A lot of games to review today as the games are coming thick and fast, especially from the Champions League and the Premier League. So as the games have just concluded tonight, there's no better place but to start with the Champions League. So I'll do a quick roundup in terms of what has happened and what has taken place. So to recap from yesterday, Bayern Munich pretty much smashed Red Bull Salzburg 7-1. The game or the tie concluded to 8-2 on aggregate, which was kind of expected. I know some people said that this might be an upset, but never saw that coming, to be honest with you. Liverpool, on the other hand, surprising defeat at Anfield against Inter Milan. What a wonder strike by Lautaro Martinez, who pretty much didn't have a sniff of the ball throughout the game. Just had that one moment, and what a finish it was. So credit to the player, credit to Inter Milan. Obviously, things might have changed if Alexis Sanchez kept his cool. Pretty much received a red card moments after that goal. A lot of debate saying that should have been a yellow card. My opinion on that is, I think because he was already on a yellow card, it's a yellow card offense. So that's why I think the decision was correct. I understand that in terms of the man of the tackle, it's very hard for him to sort of pull out. But when you're on a yellow card, you kind of have to be very careful of committing those tackles again. And he was just unfortunate in that situation. But nevertheless, Liverpool through on aggregate, which was 2-1. Manchester City as well, they won their game earlier today. But the story for me was Real Madrid, who beat PSG in unbelievable fashion. Benzema with a hat-trick. PSG folded under pressure again. And that's 3-2 on aggregate. For me, I'm not just saying it because of tonight's performance. Benzema is the best number 9 in the world, hands down, and has been for a very, very long time. I feel like he's very underrated. He doesn't get the respect he deserves, especially when he was playing alongside Ronaldo. So he probably took most of the headlines in certain games. But I feel like he's an unbelievable player in terms of how he plays. He can pretty much do everything that you expect. He's the complete striker, and fully deserves all the praise and credit today because he was the difference maker, scoring that hat-trick. And it was unbelievable tonight again. And Luka Modric, who's 36, 37 years old, was unbelievable, especially in the second half. So what a game. Thrilling end to the encounter. PSG, it's not the first time they've sort of lost their sort of mentality, I think is the word, in crucial moments of a game. Folded under pressure, as I mentioned earlier on. It's a tricky one because they've had so many managers. Are they the problem? Is it the coach at the club? Is it the players? It's probably the coach at the club, to be honest with you, but it's very difficult to kind of point a finger at what has gone wrong. Maybe there's not enough leaders in that team that we believe there are. Maybe because everyone's pretty much international, we just assume that they're natural-born leaders as well, for example. But maybe they lacked leadership in this game where a captain, probably a player that they missed today was Sergio Ramos, who would have calmed the players down or made them think in terms of what they need to do to focus and not to lose the game or handle that game management a bit better within the players. So, yeah, another defeat for PSG probably puts question marks on Pochettino's future at the club, as this is the trophy that they desire, but at this stage, it's not to be, unfortunately. So the draw actually takes place next Friday at 11 a.m. So let's see who Liverpool and Man City draw against. It actually could be each other, as there's no country protection rule after the quarterfinals. So I wouldn't want that personally, but who knows? That could happen with the luck of the draw. Just got a comment here from Madison Smith. The PSG window is over. Mbappe is gone for sure after that. Poch is not surviving either. I have to agree with you. Mbappe definitely isn't staying there. I feel like they can throw as much money as they want to him, but he's not going to accept that. For him, I think it's more of a career decision where he wants to excel with a different team and a different league as well. And regarding Pochettino, I think his time was always numbered. I don't think managers at PSG have a sort of long stay, as it's been proven in the last few years. So yeah, I think he's favourite to probably take the Manchester United job. Is he the right man for that role as well? Remains to be seen. That's another discussion for another day. And speaking of the Premier League, we can do a quick roundup of what happened over the weekend. So the big game was the Manchester Derby. Man City 4, Manchester United 1. Manchester United had one job and one job only, and they failed to do it. So, speaking as a Liverpool fan, so disappointing in terms of how that game ended. But nevertheless, it was a woeful performance from Manchester United. The game was literally men against boys. They got bullied everywhere on the pitch. And that's just me being very polite in terms of how the game was played, unfortunately. I think this probably puts to bed for the deluded Manchester United fan that they are uh, they are miles away from competing with the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City. They might have certain names that raises the profile of the club, but as a team, they're nowhere near the quality that they should be, and for a big club like Manchester United. But nevertheless, the game itself, fantastic performance from Kevin De Bruyne. I don't want to see comparisons with him and Bruno Fernandes ever again. I think that puts to bed as well. And Mahrez pretty much stole the show in the second half with a brace. So fantastic win for Man City. Obviously, the Manchester is blue there, so they won the pride amongst their sort of fans and friends if you're from Manchester. And the title race continues. It will go to the wire, in my opinion. It won't be concluded anytime soon. Liverpool and City going neck and neck right now. Speaking of Liverpool, we can review their game. And to be fair, it wasn't an impressive performance from Liverpool at all. We were very, very lucky to get the 3 points. We won the game the ugly way, but hey, that's a sign of true champions in my eyes. So the game itself, Mane opens the scoreline for Liverpool. Great assist by Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's 16 assists in 32 games. So let me put into perspective how unbelievable Trent Alexander-Arnold is. Steven Gerrard's highest assist record for Liverpool in a season was 16 assists, and he played 43 games in the 2004-2005 season. Now, Trent has played 32 games and he's already got 16 assists, and he's playing at right back. So for me, not to state the obvious, he's the best right back in the world, hands down. If no one agrees with that, you guys are free to argue amongst yourselves, because I'm not going to waste a breath, because it's so obvious how unbelievable he is as a player, how amazing he is. And he's a generational talent, in my opinion. But he's overlooked by a lot of English fans and also rival clubs, as he keeps getting compared to Wan-Bissaka back in the day, Reece James, and the list goes on. So for me, I'm not entertaining that. For me, he's the best right back in the world. But nevertheless, fantastic performance overall from Liverpool. Got the win, which is important at this stage of the season. Liverpool's next game is actually against Brighton on Saturday, which is a midday kickoff. Tricky fixture, as our record against the Seagulls in recent season hasn't been great. So it won't be a walk in the park. It'll be a tough game, probably similar fashion to how this West Ham game concludes. So yeah, not an easy one for Liverpool coming up. Now, the next team I'm about to review is Tottenham versus Everton. So I don't know if I can do these match reviews on Tottenham, because one week I'm saying they're rubbish. And then the following week I'm saying they're amazing. They're in the top 4 race. Like, they're the definition of a roller coaster club. It's unbelievable how inconsistent they are. One week they're great. The following week they're terrible. Um, yeah, if you're a Tottenham fan, I feel for you because that is not good for your blood pressure. And I'm just reviewing the matches here, so credit to you guys to keep going as Spurs fans. But the game itself was monumental for Harry Kane, who was fantastic, scoring 2 goals, but he scored his 176th goal in the Premier League, beating Thierry Henry in the all-time Premier League scorers chart. So, big question is, will Harry Kane be able to break the top record, which is Alan Shearer at 260, I believe it is. My opinion, I believe he will. He's 28, still has a number of years ahead of him to play at the highest level in the Premier League. I think he's more than capable of scoring 84 goals in the next few years. Whether that's in a Tottenham shirt or not, that remains to be seen, as there's already uncertainty with the manager right now, who, according to what some people believe, could walk out from the job at the end of the season. I think Conte is a factor right now for Kane to stay at the club. If Conte's gone, I can see Kane following as well, because they will not be able to recruit that caliber of a manager at this stage, in my opinion. So, yeah, we'll see how the future unfolds regarding Tottenham. But this puts them in 7th position on 45 points with a couple of games in hand. Arsenal still look to be in the strongest positions out of all the teams going for the 4th spot. And speaking of Arsenal, we can review their game. What a great win for them. Great performance. Some fantastic goals, in particular from Cucho, the Watford striker, scoring a bicycle kick, and Martinelli, who smashed one from long distance. Saka was unplayable for me. Another great performance from him. Strong rumours circulating in regards to his future that he may consider leaving the club and move on to one of the elite clubs. So that's whether Liverpool, Man City. Personally, I believe he's at the right club based on his age, his current development, and he's growing as a player as well. He's one of the first names on the team sheet. And for me, he's an invaluable member of the squad. So regardless of where Arsenal finish, so whether that's 4th or outside of the top 4, they need to make sure that he's at the club next season, because he's vital in terms of any future or any success that comes to Arsenal Football Club in years to come. Just got another comment here from Madison Smith. If Everton are able to stay up this season, they need a huge overhaul of the current squad in the summer. They lack a bit of athleticism. Great point. Athleticism is the word there. And they don't have it, especially if you look at the back 4. They lack pace. Midfield lack athleticism. And up front, for me, they don't have any urgency in terms of how they play. They don't really press. There's no serial killers in front of goal either. If I was an Everton fan, I'd be very concerned on how the team are performing right now, because they're in that mix. And I fear for Everton, if I'm honest with you, because they haven't shown any sign of improvements in the last few weeks. I know they've just recruited a new manager in Frank Lampard, but regardless of that, I feel like they're going backwards, in my opinion. So, yes, very, very worrying time, especially when you see Newcastle, who are excelling right now. I believe they're 14th in the league. They were only 17th, 18th a few weeks ago. So they're out of it. Brentford are slowly going down as well. I think they'll have enough to position themselves away from that relegation zone. But yes, Everton are in the mix. So if I have to make a bold prediction, I think they will get relegated. I just don't see where the goals are coming from. They highly rely on Calvert-Lewin, who's not been present this season. And I just don't see anywhere else. And they leak a lot of goals. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes for Everton there. And the final game I'll review is Burnley versus Chelsea. So another great win for Chelsea, especially after the defeat against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. So they had to bounce back, and they certainly did in this fixture. Star of the game, goes without saying, was Kai Havertz. Fantastic performance, scoring 2 goals. Big question for me regarding Chelsea. Was signing Lukaku a mistake? because in terms of the team formation, the tactics, the style of play, I believe Havertz excels in this team, leading the line as a false nine, as a number nine, however you want to phrase it. But I believe he excels in this team. He knows the role. He knows how to move around the players, how to position himself in the 6 yard box. Because he's not an out and out striker, but he's more than that. He's got so much going on in terms of his ability on the ball. So I know last year he was not as clinical as some would probably have liked. But remember, he's a young player, pretty much learning on the job, came from a different league. So came during a time as well where it was the pandemic. So settling into a new club, new country, new language, new surroundings is not easy for any player. Doesn't matter who you are. So I feel like the more he plays, the more experience he gains, which will only unlock his true potential. And I believe he has the potential to be an elite player in the coming years. So Chelsea fans, let me know what your thoughts are on that, because as great as a player Lukaku is, in my opinion, I don't know, maybe the money wasn't spent right. Maybe he's not the right player for this team in terms of how you deploy your tactics. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Just got a comment here from Madison Smith. Agree. Looking at their remaining fixtures, I don't see many points coming their way. So that's the thing regarding Everton. Yeah, they've got a tough fixture list coming up. So I don't know where the points are coming. Obviously, they've got a Merseyside derby coming up. So that can be one of those games where if the crowd's behind them, they could just nick a win and kind of change their season. But unfortunately, there aren't many games like that for them where I feel like they can turn it around. So exciting for the neutrals, but for Everton, probably faring the worst, considering that they're investing in a new stadium. Wouldn't be great if you're a championship team and you've put so much money on a stadium like that. So to be fair, your previous comment was about a huge overhaul of the current squad. That has to be done, whether they're a Premier League team or a championship team, because it's required. They've wasted so much money on certain players that for me were overvalued, overrated, and it's all good having the finances to go out and splash the cash and buy players from different teams, different leagues to try and appease the fans, but they weren't the right players. Managerial appointments weren't the right ones. Rafa Benitez, obviously Liverpool legend, fantastic manager, but that was never going to work. They had Carlo Ancelotti. Look at what he did with Real Madrid tonight. Elite manager, but there's something upstairs where it's not correct. I don't know who calls the shots in terms of recruitment. So, yeah, it's not a club that's well run, in my opinion. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Everton's season unfolds. So that's my roundup of match week 28. So what I'll do is present my team of the week. So I will share my screen with you guys. You guys can view my team. So here is the team of the week. So I've gone for Martinez in goal. I think he had a fantastic performance, made a crucial save to give Aston Villa the win there. So that's why I've got him there. I've got the armband on him. I don't think I should. He probably didn't deserve the armband. The armband probably should have gone to his teammate, which is Coutinho. So I'll get that amended and I'll upload this team on my social media later on. But in terms of the lineup, back four, I think Mitchell had a great game for Palace. Aya as well. Solid performance from the Norwegian defender for Brentford. Shah, who was on the score sheet, so another great performance from him. Provided a great assist last week on the score sheet this week. So that's why he's in my team. This one, a lot of people say Liverpool bias. It could have been Reece James, but I feel like Trent Alexander gave the assist for Sadio Mane, but also made some crucial defensive tackles, especially the clearance off the line. That would have been crucial of the outcome of the game, because had that gone in, Liverpool would have dropped points. So for me, that was just as important as the assist that he gave for Mane. So for that reason, that's why I've got him in my team of the week. Midfield 4, Yes, I know Mahrez doesn't play as a left winger, but I had to fit him in somehow into the lineup. So for me, he stole the show, was fantastic in the second half. So that's why I've got him there. Coutinho as well, playing like a prime Coutinho of Liverpool, the way he's playing for Villa right now. So some Liverpool fans might be like, don't want to see that. But, he's a magician. You have to respect his ability on the ball. Forget the ties in terms of how he left Liverpool as a player, fantastic player, and looks to be playing with a smile on his face and playing to the best of his capability. So it's great to see from the Brazilian there. De Bruyne, who I mentioned earlier on, fantastic performance from him, scored 2 goals, and pretty much overrun that midfield with ease against Manchester United there. Saka as well on the score sheet, fantastic performance from him. Up top, got Tony there, scored 2 penalties, probably one of the best penalty takers in the league in my opinion. Very cool under pressure. Has a sort of slow walk up to the ball, but it works for him, and he's very clinical from the spot. So another great performance from him, and a win for Brentford against Norwich, and Harry Kane as well, scoring 2 goals. Goals ahead of Thierry Henry in the Premier League top scorer chart. So definitely deserves to be my team of the week there. Okay, so that's my team of the week. I'm thinking, should we do a preview? Why not? Let's do a preview of the next round of Premier League games. As I know there's still games being played right now. I probably should have done this episode at a later time, but I just felt like a lot of the big games have already taken place. So it would have become a bit more of a distant memory from us. So what I'll do is share my screen with you guys, and then we can do a preview of match week 29. So let's see how I can share this with you guys. There we go. There we go. So that's the preview fixtures there now. So first game I mentioned, Brighton versus Liverpool. So for me, this will be a very, very tricky game for Liverpool. I don't have the best record against Brighton. My prediction on this one, I'm going for a 2-1 victory for Liverpool. I don't think we'll win with a big goal gap, in my opinion. But I think we'll have enough to get the win. So I'm going for 2-1 there. Brentford versus Burnley. It's at home, so I feel like that's a positive for Brentford there. I think they'll nick the win. I think it'll be 1-0 to Brentford. Manchester United versus Tottenham. So race for the top 4. Tottenham's confidence is sky high after winning 5-0 on Monday. Manchester United are pretty much deflated right now. I can see Tottenham nicking it, if I'm honest with you. I'm going for a 2-1 win for Tottenham. Yeah, United fans are going to like that one, but that's just my prediction there. Next fixture, Chelsea versus Newcastle. I think it'll be a Chelsea win. I think it'll be 2-0 to Chelsea. Leeds United versus Norwich. So Leeds United have appointed a new manager in Jesse Marsh. My thoughts on that appointment was actually a very good appointment. I was very impressed in terms of how he performed as a manager at Red Bull Salzburg. So he was the one that managed players like Haaland, that was there, Minamino, who's at Liverpool as well. So definitely has a great ethos in terms of how football should be played. And just hearing him in his interviews as well, very well spoken, knows his stuff. Obviously, he's American, so don't compare him to Ted Lasso. But yeah, he definitely knows his stuff. So it'll be an interesting appointment for Leeds United. I think he'll get the win for this one. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Leeds United there. Everton and Wolves. Well, this is crucial for Everton. They need the win. Will it get in this fixture? I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. I think they'll get the point. I think it's going to conclude as a 0-0. I don't see this being an exciting game. So I'm going for a 0-0 there. West Ham versus Aston Villa. this will be a draw. I will go for a 1-1. I think Villa in great form, and I think West Ham have been strong throughout the whole season. So it'll be a very interesting game. Tough encounter for both teams. So I think it'll conclude as a draw. Southampton versus Watford. Southampton had a good few weeks, but have dropped a bit in the last couple of weeks. So I'm going for Southampton win. I think it'll be 1-0 to Southampton. And then we've got Arsenal versus Leicester City. So the game on paper is difficult, but I feel like Arsenal have the edge in terms of how they've been playing recently. I believe it will be 3-1 to Arsenal. And then the other fixtures, Crystal Palace versus Man City. So obviously, as a Liverpool fan, you're probably expecting me to say points will be dropped here. I think it might be. I'm going for a surprise draw because I know Palace have been a bogey team for Man City in the last few years. So I don't know if this is my calculated prediction or I'm thinking from the heart here, but I'm going for a 1-1 draw. So for me, fingers crossed that happens. I believe there's some other fixtures that have been rescheduled. So Brighton and Tottenham is one. I think Tottenham will get the win. It'll be 2-1 to Tottenham. Arsenal and Liverpool. So Liverpool don't have the best of records at the Emirates. Let's hope it's not like the second leg of the Carabao Cup in the semi-finals, which was an awful game. Let me not remind myself about that. But in terms of this fixture, I think Liverpool will have the edge. It will be 2-1 to Liverpool. Now, this is a big one. Everton versus Newcastle. I'm going for a Newcastle win. I think it's 1-0 to Newcastle. This will be a defining one for Everton. They need to get some points from this fixture against Newcastle, as well as the previous fixture, which is against Wolves. They need to get, I'd say, at least 4 points. At least 4 points to have any chance of survival. If they lose both of these games, for me, they're in serious doubt of being relegated because I think Newcastle is one of their rivals, so that'll probably affect their morale as a team. And Wolves, I know, are competing a bit higher up, but they're a very difficult team to play against as well. So for me, they have to win this one. So yes, let's see how it pans out. Very, very interesting as all sorts going on. We've got a title race going through right now. We've got a lot of teams playing for top four, but a lot of teams put in the mix with that relegation zone. So it's definitely becoming more exciting, the Premier League now. Every team pretty much has a lot to play for. So yeah, exciting stuff for us all. But yes, that wraps us for today. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of any new content that's coming up. So if you're on Instagram, I have a show that I host every Mondays at 10:30 p.m. UK time on IG Live. So this is a show I call Talk That Talk, where I will review sort of the big talking points of the weekend, but it also gives you the platform to come on, have your say, spark a debate. It's literally, the floor is yours. It's your show. So please make sure to tune in next week. The next scheduled episode will be taking place next Thursday, 17th of March, and right after the Everton against Newcastle game at 10:30 p.m. UK time. And I'll review that fixture as well as the other big games happening in match week 29. So looking forward to it. But as always, thank you again for tuning in. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all very soon. Good night.